Just going back to this project then, you've got your prospectus out and you're going to try and get it out to, so are these to businesses or householders or who?
It's all the buildings so already we've just started a sort of pilot with the Rico Arena. So there have been meetings, sent them the prospectus. We've had meetings with the one of the directors, and we want to see how far we can take that, and then we want to go next door to the retail park and start to open up the conversation there. There's another place which is the very well-known building, the Daimler Wharf. And that's in a business park adjoining the canal, which is actually owned by the Wigley Group. So we've opened a discussion with the Wigley Group about the project, as opposed to the tenants on that business park.
Okay, so it's all large-scale structures. It's not like solar panels on a house, for instance, is it? Or could it be that as well?
The thing about the starting with large buildings and clusters is that you begin to get economy of scale per unit of panels and associated technology, and that can then be offered to individual homeowners at a cheaper, more attractive price.
Okay, so you're trying to distribute your prospectus to owners of local large buildings, and you want them to contact their energy supplier?
Well, it's then for the company organization to make a decision on the investment. This is the biggest single problem that we have. It's not just that the load of climate change deniers and whatever, is the investment that's required.
So you're asking for a quote to install the solar panels?
Yes.
By their existing energy supplier?
That's right. It's the simplest.
Why are you going through the existing energy supplier rather than starting with a single energy supplier that you have got already in contact with? Why go this route?
Well, there's two things here. Is the one, Climate Change Solutions is not in it's a not-for-profit organization. It is not certified and qualified to make recommendations on a specific company's capability and indeed potential liability. So we don't have that. We are not consultants, professional consultants. That's the first thing. Secondly, we're always looking for the easiest thing that they can do. We would like to ask them for a meeting. That'd be good. We can discuss with them and so on. But that's a very time consuming when we've only got 2 men and a dog of the organization. So the easiest thing when we're talking about large numbers here is they phone their energy supplier and ask them for a quote. The next stage is it needs a structural survey. The energy company will subcontract to installers.
But that means setting up a whole new branch of their business, doesn't it? Because currently they don't do.
No, that's what they do every day. They use subcontractors to install. They when the feed-in tariff was going full blast in early days before Cameron's government sabotaged it, British Gas set up huge warehouses for solar, including in Coventry on the new business park just opposite the Rico Arena. Huge. So that's the easiest thing, and that's what we're looking for here. Our interest is essentially how we can get relatively quickly take-up of renewable energy and looking to get the easiest path.
I want to ask you about the distribution. So suppose that the owner of the building and the electricity supplier agree, and they start generating electricity. How would that be then distributed? Because presumably you want to feed it back into the grid, don't you? I guess.
No, quite the opposite. Ideally, we want whatever green energy has been generated is consumed locally.
Yeah.
It's either consumed directly by the organisation for its own use, but ideally, we're coming back to this economy of scale. So if you can bring together co-located buildings, all with different levels of demand over 24 hours, 7 days a week, you can have smart systems so it can be of mutual benefit when one that's producing more energy than it needs can then export it through the smart grid to next door. They get more for it than to export it to the grid.
So there would have to be created as this smart grid, as well as getting the solar panels on.
Yes. So the bigger you can make it, the better. And if we take this example of ideally Rico Arena and the retail park next door. So the Rico Arena is kind of events organization. So quite a lot of the time it's empty. But obviously if there's a football match or a rugby match and so on, as all systems go, demand goes up. But all that can be managed through a smart system. But what we do know is that the retail park, Tesco particularly, that one's open 24 hours a day. So it's consuming a lot of energy, not least in the fridges. So it would be an obvious thing where the surplus been generated from the arena to export it into your neighbour in what is a community energy project.
So why would the current energy suppliers be interested in this? Because they would be having to pay for the solar panels and pay for the smart grid, but then they would be selling less electricity to the consumer because they're making their own. How do they get their profits?
They get it from being the supplier.
But they're not the supplier anymore, are they? Are they? Or are they the supplier because they own the solar panels on the roof?
Well, there's two things here. You can either go down the road of what's referred to as rent a roof. So essentially, the energy supplier, energy company, supplier, installer would effectively rent your roof. They raise the capital for 10 or 20 years to install and do the generation. So they have there's a business model for them seeing this as profitable for them.
Yeah.
But the bigger the better. That's the whole ethos of what we're trying to do, is look to see how we can do this on scale.
I think, hasn't Coventry already started installing, Coventry City Council started installing solar panels on schools and the council house and things like that?
Yes, they've installed, and we had the presentation at the event year or so ago, installed 5,000 solar panels, which is great. In fact, it was because it was a government, one of these competitive bids, so it was free. And so Coventry or universities and so on are always looking for these grants. And they got it to 5,000. Well, that's good. We're talking about the potential for Coventry of 1 million.
Yeah.
And that will be commercial.
Yeah.
Not the government's not going to be sumping up for 1 million solar panels. 12 million if you're talking about the West Midlands.
So has this kind of thing been done anywhere else?
Yes, there's lots of, in fact, we've got association, we've a network of community solar projects. We're we're the biggest one, but we've got 10 of those. But there are plenty of, if you go on the website and put in community energy projects, you'll see lots and lots of them.
Okay.
So you can have either individual, or you can have a sort of consortium that comes together to do it on a sort of community scale.
Okay, that's fantastic. That's really good. Thank you very much. Now, can we move on to a couple of other things? So the other thing that that you do is organise exhibitions. I mean, are there any exhibitions that you want to mention here?
Yes, well, we've run exhibitions in association with conferences. So one of the most successful has been, ironically, on what appeared to be 20 years ago, the most difficult in hydrogen fuel cell technology. And we started with 2 professors and a dog and me at the chemical engineering offices of Birmingham University. In November, we had our rescheduled twice 17th International Hydrogen Fuel Cell Conference at the NEC, a couple of days. And so we ran a conference, 400 delegates come from Europe, Maine, but we also have from China, Japan, and various other places. And we ran a conference through the day, but we've got an exhibition co-located with it, and it's grown and grown. So later this year in June, we booked the 2 biggest exhibition, 2 biggest conference and exhibition facilities at the NEC, and so that's really our most successful exhibition and conference.